recently I get a lot of comments under my videos that kind of advises me to convert to Christianity because my pagan ancestors also converted to Christianity out of their own free will, and the realization, and this is the best thing that could happen, and it's much better than their old, well-established traditions. This statement has this underlying assumption that early Christian missionary work happened peacefully, which not only contradicts the archaeological evidences and the non-Christian sources, but also contradicts the Christian sources themselves. And I believe it to be a very modern conception. Definitely in ancient and medieval times, everybody knew that this was a violent matter. And I believe this originates in the fact that with the Renaissance and the Romantic Age, ancient classical culture became a stable central part of the European identity. And so for Catholic Christianity, it became very important to present itself as a preserver, a continuation of this ancient culture. But when we look at the sources and all the available information, we clearly see that people didn't convert fast, that people didn't convert out of their free will. And also early Christian preachers weren't that crazy about folk traditions or classical literature because they recognized the inherent pagan nature of them. Now, of course, there were some who did try to Christianize these social practices and cultural achievements, and they were those handful ones who actually did help in the preservation of what actually got preserved. But when we look at the majority experience of the process itself, we can clearly see that Christianization was a bloody and a violent manner. And it wasn't a question of rational persuasion. So how did this Christianization happen? Well, book burnings was very common. Destruction of art, especially statues and reliefs, paintings, destruction of holy places, temples, shrines, legislative actions that banned sacrifices or the visitation of temples or just simply any kind of practice, killing or torturing, especially publicly, and finally economical and political corruption and legal exemptions for Christians. Now, we don't have time to actually go into the examples, but I put some Christian sources into the description. But what I just wanted to point here is that, I'm actually very happy that classical literature and folk traditions became a shared point of interest for pagans and Christians, and I hope it stays that way. But it is important to note that that is no reason for denying the past, especially when it's a serious point of trauma for us pagans, and I would even say that it's a serious point of trauma for the whole of Europe.